At this phase, we're going to deal mainly with breaths, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and take off grid mode because I want to be able to zoom way close right into the waveform itself. Okay, so let's go ahead and start that.
If you beat a cash,
Okay, so we see there, we don't want any of that noise where he breathed in. So I can just trim in, or I can select and delete. Either way is fine.
If you beat a cash.
Okay, so now, do we want to keep the breath before? Or do we want to take it out?
If you beat a
So that's personal preference. For certain scenarios, I will completely remove breaths or only keep very vital breaths that help keep the performance intact. The reason is because as we have more compression on the line, these little details really start to peek out and bite at us a bit, and translates to a pretty harsh vocal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you a way that I handle breaths to keep them in there, but to make them subtle. So I just go to the beginning of the breath. Okay, it's a little long. I don't want one that long. I can shorten it. That sounds good. I'm going to draw a fade in, and I'm going to make that fade a bit steep.
If you beat a
Okay, you could hear a little breath. Let me back it up a bit.
If you beat a cash.
That's cool. That's all I want. Okay?
If you
There's a little right in there, and that's fine.
If you beat a cash, I'll beat a rubber band.
Okay? So I'm moving through, and I'm going to listen to all the phrases. And what I mean by a phrase is the singer typically marks their phrases by breaths. And if they rehearse the song and have it down really good, you're going to hear that they don't breathe too often, but they breathe at the right points. And it's basic natural human nature for a singer to do that. But sometimes that might not be the case, and then the editing becomes a little more detailed. But for now, let's just roll through and catch all the breaths.
If you beat a cash, I'll beat a rubber band. You beat a match, I will beat a few.
All right, right there. So I'm going to zoom in, right where that begins. Make sure I don't clip out the end of the previous word. Control E, Command E. Let's take it down a bit, fade it in, make it steep, zoom out.
Match, I will beat a
Okay.
Match, I will beat a
Sounds pretty natural. You can play with the length of the fade to make sure it sounds exactly as you want.
match, I will beat a fuse. Boom, paint a
Okay, there we go.
paint.
It's a big breath. So this technique, I'm keeping the breaths in here, obviously, but I'm just minimizing them.
Paint a baby.
A little too steep of a fade there, you can see.
Boom, paint a baby.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Boom, paint a baby. It could be the muse. I'm doing.
All right, there's another one. Fade that in. All right.
I'm doing
Let's shorten that a bit. It's a pretty big breath.
muse. I'm the reporter.
All right, let's make that less steep but gradual.
I'm the reporter, baby. It could be the news, 'cause you're a cigarette.
Okay, we'll cut that out. Oops. Command Z. We don't want that. All right, I'm gonna just pull this back.
I'm the reporter.
Okay, we're cool there. Let's fade in this breath.
And I'm a cigarette. And I'm a smoker.
Pretty good. Bring it more.
And I'm a smoker.
Okay, as I'm doing this, I'm always hitting Command S as I go along to save it. So basically, I'm going to go through and repeat this process until all the breaths are cleaned up on this, okay? And we'll go on from there next.